Peace. This is a meat and potato sorcery production starring myself, the Water Alchemist, and today's topic is neo-Nazism and Luciferianism. For those that are listening to this, you have to be very careful of certain organizations. Some are now underground that are trying to get their hooks into the occult movement and juxtaposed it with neo-Nazism. One particular organization that was begun decades ago but is gaining ground in secrecy is the Order of Nine Angles, which is the so-called occult brainchild of Anton Long or David Mayotte. So that's his brainchild. And where it struggled and it had maybe a dozen members, has well over a few thousand currently. Now, how did this happen? Well, this happened because of the so-called far-right sentiment that really was around, whether it was Ronald Reagan, then George Bush Jr., and it went to the next level and jumped exponentially with Donald Trump. So this is giving people who are basically, who have no power, feel powerless, probably working on their second divorce, or their wife took everything, they can't see their children. They're basically drifters from job to job. So you give them a place. And when you give a little man or a little woman any vestige of power, they will do anything. You don't even have to order them to kill or neutralize somebody. They will do that because they feel like this is the least that they could do and this is their thank you. But let me tell you this, if you really study the so-called spirits, and this could be angels, definitely, but also daemons and gods and goddesses, they don't care about race. They know that's really one of the flaws of humanity, is their hang up with race. Don't believe me? I remember I had a conversation with Hela. Now, Hela's from the Norse pantheon. And I put the question to her, and she said, that's a social construct. We don't care about race. That's what humans care about. And this is coming from Hela. But there's been stories that King Paimon was the same way. King Paimon is a king from Morocco. He does not care about race. That's what humans are hung up on. But I've seen this with the Order of Nine Angles, and there's been popular occultists that have defected just because of their Nazi sentiment. All they do is they'll sprinkle a little bit of magic on it. So you give this to somebody like, wow, I have a sense of belonging. I'm a part of something. And you're giving me magic as well. Magic in the hands of an idiot is more dangerous than a gun. And to illustrate, when you give somebody some little bit of power or position, because you know we're into position and titles, there's an episode that you can see that will hammer home the point. It was from the original Twilight Zone series. The episode was He's Alive, 1963, with the actor Kurt Conway as Adolf Hitler and a young Dennis Hopper, who was really just an insecure young man, and he came to power. And Hitler, his specter or his spirit, was telling him how to do it, how to speak to the people, how to use the powers of persuasion, because Hitler was an occultist. And some of the poses that he used were exaggerated poses. But the Nazis were an occult party, and they did work with extraterrestrials. But one thing they didn't say about Adolf Hitler, and this is the same for Aleister Crowley, both of them avoided reincarnation. So if anyone say, I'm Hitler reincarnated, that is a lie. Hitler did not reincarnate, period, and neither did Aleister Crowley. They're done with that. So your job is supposed to be about ascension. And one thing that you can learn from Lucifer, if nothing else, Lucifer wants you to not only have illumination, but he wants you to strive for truth, no matter where that truth may take you. So for young people, stay away from cult organizations that will give you small titles, that will give you something that you've been lacking in your so-called mortal existence. And you can see this with the Order of Nine Angles, because there was an individual during the George Floyd murder and the rebellion by the people, black and white. And one of the people from the Order of Nine Angles was an individual named Corin Storm Carver. He was from the Order of Nine Angles, and he wanted to accelerate the so-called holy racial war, but the FBI has stopped him. Let me tell you how this works. There's a list that the FBI has, the NSA, etc., where both black radical groups and white radical groups and Islamic radical groups are all on that. Now they also have another think tank for those who practice magic in the occult and have anti-government sentiment. They have a list for occultists too, believe that or not. So it would be in your best interest to stay away from the Order of Nine Angles and any other organization, because Lucifer doesn't care about Nazis. Never have, never will. Nor does Belial, nor does King Paimon. And you can keep going and going and going. They don't care about that. Freya doesn't care. Hela doesn't care. Lilith doesn't care. They don't care about that. Lucifer cares about you doing the work. Do you know how many so-called African Americans that I have talked to that know they're supposed to be practicing Santeria or Vodou or Brujeria and all that, and they spend time running away from their destiny? Why? Because they don't want to be held accountable. See, you're what I call the information addict. You want to know this and know that, but you don't want to do the magic. You don't want to be held accountable, because one thing about spirits and demons, they do hold you to a different standard than the average person that just want to work at Walmart or stand out dressed as the Statue of Liberty in front of a tax place. They hold you to a higher standard. Period. Point blank. So no, the spirits, angels, demons, they don't care about that. Extraterrestrials who are here, they get a laugh out of that. This is amusing to them, because their thing is, what so-called year is this? Are y'all still falling for this trick? Meanwhile, we're ravaging the planet and we're getting it ready for our own. And we have to thank the technology that we gave to the people of CERN so more portals can open up and so we can come through. We're thankful for that. So, Nazism has absolutely no place with Luciferianism, Satanism, or the occult. Period. It has no place. So with that, that is your meat and potatoes source for the day. I am the Water Alchemist. Your water, my friends. Peace.